There aren't many places left on Earth that no one has set foot on. Most of the world's tallest mountains have already been climbed, with stories of brave adventurers filling history books. But until very recently, one peak remained untouched: Muchu Chhish. Located in Pakistan's Karakoram mountain range, Muchu Chhish was one of the last big mountains over 7,000 meters that no one had ever climbed. Unlike famous peaks like Everest or K2, which attract thousands of climbers every year, this mountain was different. It wasn't well known, and those who did attempt to climb it found it nearly impossible. Steep slopes, dangerous ice, and unpredictable weather made it a serious challenge. Many tried, but all had to turn back. For years, Muchu Chhish stood as a reminder that nature still had the upper hand. No matter how advanced climbing gear got, or how skilled people became, some places remained out of reach. But in 2024, that finally changed. A team of climbers from the Czech Republic made history by reaching the summit, doing what no one else had done before. In this video, we'll explore what makes this mountain so special, the challenges climbers faced, and why its first ascent was such a big deal. Muchu Chhish is part of the Batura Mustache sub-range of the Karakoram Mountains in northern Pakistan. This area is home to some of the tallest and toughest mountains in the world, including K2, the second highest peak on Earth. Unlike K2, which has been climbed many times, Muchu Chhish remained untouched for years. The mountain stands at 7,153 meters, 24,452 feet above sea level, making it one of the highest unclimbed peaks until 2024. It is surrounded by steep ridges, sharp rock formations, and massive glaciers, making access to the mountain extremely difficult. The entire Karakoram region is known for unpredictable weather, with sudden storms, high winds, and heavy snowfall that can turn deadly in minutes. One major challenge with Muchu Chhish is its technical difficulty. While it's not the highest unclimbed peak overall, some peaks in Tibet are higher but closed to climbers. It was considered one of the toughest that climbers were actually allowed to attempt. The steep and exposed slopes of Muchu Chhish require a high level of skill in rock climbing, ice climbing, and survival in extreme conditions. Another reason it remained unclimbed for so long is its remoteness. Unlike Everest or other popular peaks, there are no easy routes, no established base camps, and very few recorded attempts. Just reaching the base of the mountain is a challenge in itself, requiring days of trekking through difficult terrain. For years, Muchu Chhish was known as one of the last big, unclimbed mountains, but very few people actually tried to reach the top. The reason? It was simply too difficult. The Karakoram Range is already one of the most challenging places to climb in the world, and Muchu Chhish, with its steep slopes and dangerous weather, made it even harder. One of the earliest recorded attempts came in 1999, when a Spanish team tried to climb the peak. They made some progress but had to turn back due to dangerous conditions. After that, the mountain remained quiet for many years, as climbers focused on other peaks in the region. Then, in 2020, a group of Czech climbers made a serious attempt. They followed the Southwest Ridge, one of the only possible routes to the top. The team reached an altitude of 6,300 meters, 20,669 feet, but had to turn back because of extreme weather and difficult climbing conditions. In 2021, another Czech team returned, determined to push higher. This time, they reached 6,600 meters, 21,654 feet, a new record. But once again, the mountain forced them to retreat. The combination of sheer rock walls, icy slopes, and unpredictable weather made it nearly impossible to continue. These repeated failures showed just how tough Muchu Chhish was. Even experienced climbers with the best equipment couldn't find a safe way to the top. But instead of discouraging them, these failed attempts only made the challenge more tempting. After years of trying, The climbers learned from their mistakes and prepared for one final push, the historic ascent of 2024. After years of failed attempts, a team of Czech climbers finally made history in July 2024 by reaching the summit of Muchu Chhish. This was a moment that climbers around the world had been waiting for, a final victory over one of the last great unclimbed peaks. The team was led by Petr Matěk, an experienced Czech mountaineer. Alongside him were Jakub Vlček and Ondřej Huserka, two skilled climbers who had already attempted the mountain in previous years. Their plan was to use everything they had learned from past failures and make one last attempt to reach the top. They started their climb from the Batura Glacier, the same route used in past expeditions. The journey to the base of Muchu Chhish itself was a challenge, requiring days of trekking through rough terrain. Once they reached base camp, they waited for a weather window, when conditions would be stable enough for a serious push toward the summit. The team followed the southwest ridge, the only viable route to the top. This part of the climb was steep, icy, and extremely dangerous, with very little room for error. The higher they went, the harder it became. At one point, they had to navigate through sections of loose rock and deep snow, making each step risky. After days of climbing and carefully managing their oxygen levels, the team finally reached the 7,453-meter, 24,452-foot summit on July 5, 2024. It was an incredible achievement, one that had taken decades of attempts and countless setbacks. The climbers spent only a short time at the top, taking a few quick photos before beginning their descent. The way down was just as dangerous as the way up, and they had to be extremely careful to avoid falls or sudden weather changes. Fortunately, they made it back safely, becoming the first humans ever to stand on the summit of Muchu Chhish. Their success was not just a personal victory, it was a huge moment for the mountaineering world. Muchu Chhish, once thought to be impossible, had finally been conquered. The successful climb of Muchu Chhish in 2024 was a major moment in mountaineering history. While the world's highest peaks, like Everest and K2, have been climbed many times, Muchu Chhish remained one of the last great challenges. Its first ascent wasn't just another climbing achievement, it was the end of an era where fewer and fewer high peaks remain untouched. One reason this climb was so important is that it proved the mountain could be conquered. Before 2024, many climbers doubted whether it was even possible. The technical difficulty, extreme altitude, and unpredictable weather had forced some of the best climbers in the world to turn back. By reaching the summit, the Czech team showed that with the right strategy, skill, and determination, Muchu Chhish could finally be climbed. This ascent also brought global attention to the Batura Musta region. While many climbers focus on the more famous Karakoram peaks, like K2 and Broad Peak, this success could encourage more expeditions to explore lesser-known mountains. Pakistan's mountaineering industry could see new interest from adventurers seeking challenges beyond the usual climbing routes. However, this doesn't mean Muchu Chhish will become popular. Unlike Everest, which has commercial climbing operations, this mountain is still extremely difficult and dangerous. The Czech climbers completed a true mountaineering feat, one that few others may be able to repeat. In the end, the successful climb of Muchu Chhish was more than just reaching a summit. It was about pushing the limits of human endurance and proving that even the most difficult challenges can be overcome. It reminded the world that adventure still exists, and that some places on Earth are still wild, waiting for those brave enough to explore them. The climb of Muchu Chhish in 2024 marked the end of one of the last great mountaineering challenges. For years, this peak stood as a symbol of nature's dominance, an unclimbed giant that had turned back every attempt. But with patience, skill, and determination, a team of Czech climbers finally made history. Their journey wasn't just about reaching the top. It was about the spirit of exploration, the drive to push beyond limits, take on the impossible, and prove that even the toughest obstacles can be overcome. Muchu Chhish didn't attract climbers because of fame or records. It was a true test of endurance and skill, where success meant facing the harshest conditions with no guarantees. Now that Muchu Chhish has been climbed, the question remains: what's next? There are still some unclimbed peaks in the world, but few as significant as this one. With better gear, stronger climbers, and a growing passion for adventure, humanity will continue to seek out new frontiers. Muchu Chhish may no longer be untouched, but it will always be a reminder of what's possible when people chase their wildest dreams. Did you find it interesting and want more stories like this? Subscribe for more. Do you have any suggestions or tips? Leave a message in the comments.